2022 was an amazing year for MMA. We got to see some of the most amazing fights. Some made us happy, but others broke our hearts because our favorite fighter lost. And we want 2023 to be even more exciting. So in this video, we'll talk about the most anticipated MMA fights in 2023. Now, some of these fights have already been confirmed, but some are just rumors. Let's get on with it. First up, Bo Nickal in the UFC. Our first one isn't exactly a fight, but it will be one very soon. Because we don't care who he takes on, we just want to see Bo Nickal in the octagon. We're confident that Nickal's UFC career will get off to a great start and will go down in the history of the competition. Now, let's make it very clear. Bo Nickal isn't any upcoming young prospect. He'll turn 27 on the 14th of January, but an already established fighter who has fought a number of times in his career already. Not only is he a three-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion, but it also looks like he was born to be in the ring. His posture, his technique, his striking, and his movements already looking amazing. And we can't talk enough about his sensational overhand left, which helped him score a knockout on his MMA debut. We are beyond excited to see him in UFC, and can't wait for his debut. Up next, Conor McGregor against anyone. We're at that point in our lives where we just want to see Conor McGregor in a fight. We don't care if it's against Dustin Poirier or Tony Ferguson or Michael Chandler, or literally anyone else for that matter. We just want him back in the octagon. He's undoubtedly the biggest star in the UFC, and it's been so long since we last saw him in action. Yes, we remember his embarrassing loss against Poirier in his last fight, that he has been a part of some scandals outside the octagon, and also the fact that he's turning 35. Still, his comeback is much anticipated. This is the reason why we didn't rate him any higher on this list, but we're sure that once he announces a fight, it will be the main event of the night, and that too of a huge pay-per-view card. And we expect nothing less from him on his return to the UFC. Coming up, AJ McKee versus Usman Nurmagomedov. McKee versus Usman would be a good fight, but it won't exactly be a crowd pleaser of the night. Both these fighters have very different styles and approach their fights differently. Usman's the one who just likes to dominate and destroy his opponents, but McKee is the technically gifted one out of these two. McKee has to be the most talented fighter we've seen in the Bellator MMA. There isn't anyone who comes close to him in terms of talent. On the other hand, Usman Nurmagomedov is a ruthless fighter and a dominating lightweight champion of the world just at the age of 24. Both these fighters aren't as famous or get the same amount of respect as they deserve. Maybe it's because they're fighting in the Bellator MMA. If they were in the UFC, things could have been very different. These guys are easily in the top 10 fighters in the world right now and are improving day by day. A fight between these two could be legendary. Next up, Larissa Pacheco and Kayla Harrison. Yeah, some of you might be wondering what these two names are doing on this list. We've seen them fight enough times already. Just wait and hear us out. A fourth fight between the two can actually be a good one. It's clear that these two are the best lightweight women fighters in the world, and after seeing the last three fights between the two, we can assure you that it won't be the most exciting fight of the night. That doesn't mean it'll be a boring encounter. Harrison has spent years in the MMA, and despite that, her striking isn't very strong, but very limited. Her number one approach would be to grapple Pacheco and take her down, but on the other hand, Pacheco's very good at defending, and we've seen her do it many times. This is what makes it a very close and intriguing fight for the fans. We're 90% sure that it'll be a long fight and will be decided on the cards. It's gonna be a good one, guys. Now, Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya. We still remember the first encounter between the two. It was an amazing fight to watch and one of the best fights of 2022. Both of them brought their A game to the fight and none of them was looking to back down. We saw some of the best kickboxing on the night. Adesanya did get a hold of Pereira and hold him at the end of round one, but Pereira made a great comeback after that and was successful in the fight later on. Adesanya looked better in the fight in terms of grappling and taking the other fighter down. He was leading the third round, so when it came to the fifth round, Pereira needed a knockout to win, and that's exactly what he pulled off. He used a smart and ruthless combination to knock Adesanya out and become the new UFC middleweight champion. We'd love to see a rematch between the two in 2023, and who wouldn't? Pereira's still relatively new to MMA, while Adesanya is very experienced, so he'll be looking looking to take his revenge and get his title back from Pereira, it's gonna be another outstanding battle if it happens. What's more, Francis Ngannou and Sergey Pavlovich. When you're thinking about two of the most ruthless heavyweight strikers of the past decade, these two names come to your mind. If they don't, you need to pick up some other sport for yourself. Ngannou's a beast, and we've seen him knock opponents out unconscious with his extremely powerful hands in only a matter of seconds. And we thought no one was ever gonna come close to doing what Ngannou does, but then came Pavlovich and changed the way we were thinking. He proved that he can be as ruthless as Ngannou and also has the ability to destroy his opponents in a matter of seconds. We all saw Pavlovich put Tai Tuivasa to sleep in only 54 seconds. Ruthless. It's always amazing to see a fight between two dominating heavyweights, and we're sure that this fight will make headlines. Following up, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. This has to be the fight that gets you excited. These two met for the first time in 2015 when Kamaru Usman dominated the fight and won via decision after the last round. People thought Edwards was gonna win, but Usman proved everyone wrong. And for the second time in 2022, when Edwards made a great comeback and knocked Usman out via a head kick, Edwards showed his calm and composure in that fight, and it paid off for him in the end. A third fight set to take place between the two in March 2023. Can Edwards do it again and win it? Or will Usman snatch the welterweight championship from Edwards? Nothing can be said right now. Usman's getting older day by day as he turns 36 in May, but Edwards just keeps on getting better. It's gonna be one heck of a fight, and we can't wait for it. Now, Aljamain Sterling's title defense. Sterling's a great fighter and one of those who don't get enough credit for what they do in their fights. Sterling's the current bantamweight champion in the UFC, and we so badly wanted him to defend his title against an opponent. How good of a champion are you if you don't defend your title? Sterling announced recently that his next opponent would be Henry Cejudo. This news has excited some of the fans while others wanted him to take on someone else. But we think it's still an amazing fight and we can see some high-level MMA on the night. The real fans of the UFC know that it's gonna be a thrilling battle and could also go down as one of the best fights of all time. All we can say is get ready for a thrilling fight because it's gonna get ugly inside the octagon. Not to mention Khamzat Chimaev's next fight. Khamzat Chimaev has got the ability to make headlines with any of his fights, and we expect nothing less of him in 2023. Fans already have some opponents for him in mind. Some want him to face Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, or even Shavkat Rakhmonov in his next fight. But we don't really care about who he fights next because all of his past fights have been so good to watch regardless of the opponents he faced. But still, if we had to pick one, we'd pick the one against Gilbert Burns in 2022. It was a very close and sensational outing between the two. It's about time that Chimaev announces his next opponent so we can have something to look forward to. Next up, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Makhachev and Volkanovski are set to take on each other at UFC 284 in February 2023. And this is a big one, guys. MMA fights rarely get better than this one. Volkanovski has a 25-1 record and will be looking to improve it and also put another championship to his name. But in order to do so, he'll have to beat the Russian beast Islam Makhachev. And we all know it's not easy. Many have tried and failed. Can Volkanovski do it? Only time will tell. Finally, John Jones's heavyweight debut. We know some of you will say that Makhachev versus Volkanovski should be number one, but we really think that this is the one that deserves this spot. Jones is an undisputed king of the light heavyweight division, but he has been away from the sport for almost 3 years now. Many have anticipated his return to the heavyweight division and think he can add a heavyweight title as well to his list of titles. But can he really? Or will he fight in the division at all at 35? Nothing's for certain, but if it does happen, it'll be crazy good and will be the biggest event of the year for sure. That's a wrap for this video. Do you have any other fight in your mind? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.